Lieutenant Adam Clark yawned as he checked the time. Just 30 more minutes until his shift ended on the orbital defense platform Vigilant Shield. The night shift was always quiet. Earth had pulled back from space travel years ago. No one came to visit anymore. No one dared. Adam sipped his coffee and watched the stars through the large viewing window. Sometimes he wondered what was happening out there in the vast darkness. Earth used to have friends, colonies, and trading partners across many star systems. That was before the colonial wars, before humanity showed the galaxy what they were, capable of when pushed too far. A sharp beeping noise made Adam jump. He spilled coffee on his blue uniform as he rushed to the communications panel. Strange. An incoming transmission, but not from Earth or any of the monitoring stations in the solar system. This was coming from deep space. Computer, identify source of transmission, Adam said, tapping commands into the screen. Source unknown. Signal origin approximately 47 light years from Earth, in the direction of the Nelvaran system. The computer replied in its flat voice. Adam felt a chill run down his spine. The Nelvarans. They were among the first to cut ties with Earth after the colonial wars. They had been under Earth's protection once, a peaceful species who created beautiful art and music. But like all the others, they grew afraid of humanity's power after watching what happened during the war. Play transmission, Adam ordered. The sound that came through the speakers was broken and static-filled. Words in a language Adam didn't understand, but the pattern was clear. 3 short bursts, 3 long bursts, 3 short bursts. The universal distress signal. SOS. Someone needed help. Adam didn't hesitate. He hit the emergency alert button, sending the signal up the chain of command. Within minutes, his supervisor called. Clark, this better be important. It's 3 a.m., said Commander Peter Daniels. Sir, we've received a distress call from deep space. It appears to be coming from the Nelvaran system. There was a long pause. Forward the transmission to Central Command. And Clark... Don't tell anyone about this. Within hours, the quiet night had turned into a storm of activity. Adam found himself in a large meeting room at Earth Defense Headquarters in Geneva. Military officers, government officials, and scientists filled the room, all talking at once. Adam felt out of place in his coffee-stained uniform. The room fell silent when Admiral Olivia Martinez entered. Her face bore a long scar from her left, eye to her chin, a reminder of the last battle of the colonial wars. She had been retired for 10 years, but everyone still stood straight when she walked in. At 0317 hours, we received a transmission from the Nelvaran home system, she said, without introduction. Our xenolinguistics team has confirmed it is a distress call from the Nelvaran government. They are under attack by a species calling themselves the Drovax Collective. A holographic display appeared in the center of the room, showing recordings of massive ships with strange, sharp angles. They fired weapons at smaller vessels, which Adam guessed were Nelvaran ships. The smaller ships exploded one after another. The Nelvarans are outmatched, Admiral Martinez continued. Based on the transmission, they have already lost 2 colonies. Worlds. Their home planet is next. They have specifically requested Earth's help. General Frank Peterson, the head of Earth's ground forces, laughed without humor. They wanted nothing to do with us for nearly 30 years. Called us monsters. War titans, wasn't it? Now they want our help? Admiral Martinez looked at him with cold eyes. Yes, General. They were afraid of us. Perhaps they had reason to be. But we swore to protect them once. That promise doesn't end because they hurt our feelings. The isolation treaties clearly state that Earth military forces are banned from Nelvaran space, said a thin woman who Adam didn't recognize. She wore the uniform of the diplomatic corps. The Nelvarans have formally requested our help, Martinez replied. That overrides the treaties. And what about the territories we would need to cross to reach them? The diplomat asked. The Azrathi, the Volocrus, the Turellians, they all signed treaties banning our ships from their space after the war. The room erupted in arguments again. Adam stood quietly, wondering why he was even there. He was just a lieutenant who happened to be on duty when the signal came in. A new voice cut through the noise. What do the Drovaks want? Everyone turned to look at President Kate Summers. She had entered quietly during the discussion, her security detail keeping a respectful distance. Admiral Martinez tapped on her tablet, and new images appeared. Planets stripped of resources, left as hollow shells. Based on the information the Nelvarans sent, the Drovaks don't conquer. They consume. They strip planets of all valuable resources and move on. They've already destroyed 2 Nelvaran worlds this way. President Summers nodded slowly. She was newly elected, having run on a platform of carefully reconnecting with the galactic community. And if they finish with the Nelvarans? There's no reason to believe they would stop there, Martinez said. If they're as resource-hungry as they appear, they might eventually find their way to us. The room was quiet as everyone considered this. Adam found himself holding his breath. How quickly could we respond? President Summers asked. We would need to reactivate ships from the colonial era, Martinez said. The Nevada repository has 6 warships in storage that could be made combat-ready within 2 weeks. We have veterans who could crew them, supplemented by current service members. 2 weeks might be too late for the Nelvarans, the president said. Martinez nodded. Yes, Madam President. But it's the best we can do. President Summers walked to the window, looking out at the Geneva skyline. The morning sun reflected off the buildings. 27 years ago, we showed the galaxy why they should fear us. Perhaps it's time we showed them why they should have kept us as friends. She turned back to the room. Admiral Martinez, you will lead this mission. Reactivate the ships. Assemble your crews. You have my authorization to cross any territory necessary to reach the Nelvarans. The Azrathi will see this as an act of war, General Peterson warned. Then we'll just have to move too fast for them to stop us, President Summers replied. This mission has a name, Operation Distant Thunder. We go to protect, not to conquer. Is that understood? Everyone nodded. Adam felt a mix of fear and excitement. He had joined Earth's defense forces, hoping to see the stars. But the isolation treaties had kept humanity locked in their own solar system dot as people filed out to begin preparations. Admiral Martinez approached Adam. Lieutenant Clark, you received the transmission first. I want you on the Harbinger of Dawn with me. Adam's eyes widened. The Harbinger was legendary, the flagship of Earth's fleet during the colonial wars. Yes, Admiral. Thank you. Martinez didn't smile. Don't thank me yet, Lieutenant. We're about to break every treaty Earth has signed in the last 3 decades. We're going back to the stars, and we don't know what we'll find out there anymore. Adam nodded, suddenly understanding the weight of what was happening. Earth was returning to the stars, not as explorers this time, but as warriors answering a call for help. The war titans were awakening once more. The Nevada Desert Military Repository was a massive facility hidden beneath the sand and rocks. Most people did not know it existed. Even many in the military had forgotten about it. But this morning, the desert shook as enormous metal doors slid open for the first time in 27 years. Commander Eric Nelson stood at the edge of the opening, shielding his eyes from the sun. He had been just a boy when the colonial wars ended. His father had told him stories about the great ships that once carried humans to the stars. Now he would see them with his own eyes. Impressive, isn't it? A voice said beside him. Eric turned to see Captain Samantha Wright. She was older than him by about 15 years, with short gray hair and eyes that had seen battle. She would command the Harbinger of Dawn, the most powerful ship in the reactivated fleet. "I've only seen pictures," Eric admitted. "My father served on the Intrepid." Samantha nodded. "Jacob Nelson. I remember him. Good pilot." A rumbling sound drew their attention back to the opening. Giant lights turned on inside, revealing an enormous underground chamber. And there they were, the warships of Earth, sleeping. Giants that had been maintained, but not used for almost 3 decades. The Harbinger of Dawn was the largest. Its dark hull stretched nearly a kilometer from end to end. Around it sat 5 other ships, the battlecruisers Defiant and Resolute, the carriers Intrepid and Dauntless, and the smaller stealth frigate Phantom. "God, they're beautiful," Eric whispered. "They're weapons," Samantha corrected him. "The most powerful weapons humanity ever created. And now we're waking them up again." Workers and robots moved around the ships, checking systems and loading supplies. Admiral Martinez had given them 10 days to make the ships ready instead of the 2 weeks she had told the president. The Nelverans might not have 2 weeks. Eric followed Samantha down into the chamber. The air smelled of metal and old dust. Engineers were everywhere, bringing systems online after decades of sleep. Inside the Harbinger, Dr. Helen Monroe supervised a team installing new weapons. She was the head of Earth's Weapons Research Division, a small woman with large glasses and quick hands. "These are quantum disruptor torpedoes," she explained to Samantha and Eric. "They didn't exist during the colonial wars. They can bypass most shield systems and disrupt the atomic bonds of whatever they hit." "Will they work against the Drovak ships?" Samantha asked. Helen shrugged. "We've never fought the Drovaks before, but these would work against any ship design we know of." In another part of the ship, Lieutenant Adam Clark helped check the communication systems. He still couldn't believe he had been assigned to the flagship. Many experienced officers had volunteered when they heard Earth was sending ships to help the Nelverans. Some came out of retirement just for this mission. "Try the subspace channel again," said Officer Paul Howard, who was working with Adam. Adam adjusted some settings and spoke into the comm unit. "This is Harbinger Communications Test 7. Receiving?" "Reading you clearly, Harbinger," came the reply from the control center. "All channels functional." Paul smiled. "Good. We'll need to be able to talk to each other out there." Across the chamber in the ship called Intrepid, pilots prepared their fighters. The carriers would bring smaller, faster ships that could protect the larger vessels. Lieutenant Zoe Miller would lead one of the fighter squadrons. She had never flown in actual combat, only in simulations, but she was the best pilot in Earth's defense forces. "Check the new targeting systems twice," she told her pilots. "These fighters were built before most of you were born. We need to be sure the upgrades work." Meanwhile, Major John Carter prepared the 87th Marine Expeditionary Unit. If the Drovaks had landed forces on Nelveran planets, the Marines would need to fight on the ground. "These are exoskeletal combat frames," he explained to his soldiers, pointing to the metal suits standing in rows. "They will make you stronger, faster, and better protected." During the colonial wars, one human in a combat frame could fight 10 enemy soldiers. A young Marine raised his hand. "Sir, why were the aliens so afraid of us? Why did they call us war titans?" John looked at the young faces around him. None of them had been alive during the wars. They knew only an isolated Earth. "Because we were unstoppable," he said quietly. "When the Proxima colonies rebelled and killed thousands of Earth citizens, we responded with overwhelming force. We did what we had to do, but our allies saw a side of humanity that frightened them. They saw what we're capable of when we're pushed too far." On the 6th day of preparations, Admiral Martinez called all ship captains and unit commanders to a meeting aboard the Harbinger. Maps of space showed their planned route to the Nelvaran system. "We will need to cross Azrathi space here," she said, pointing to an area on the map. "And Volocris territory here. Both will likely try to stop us." "Will we fight them if they try?" asked Captain William Grant of the Defiant. Martinez shook her head. "Our mission is to help the Nelvarans, not start new wars. We avoid conflict with former allies if possible." "Then how do we get past them?" Captain Grant asked. Martinez nodded to Dr. Monroe, who stepped forward. After the colonial wars, Earth continued to develop new technologies. One of them is the dimensional fold drive. It allows our ships to create a temporary fold in space-time, moving instantly from one point to another. Surprised murmurs filled the room. Such technology would change everything about space travel and warfare. "Our former allies don't know we have this capability," Martinez continued. "We will use it only if necessary to bypass their forces without fighting." On the morning of the 10th day, all 6 ships were ready. Crews said goodbye to families. For many, this would be their first mission beyond Earth's solar system. No one knew if they would return. Admiral Martinez addressed all crews from the bridge of the Harbinger. Her face appeared on screens throughout the fleet. 27 years ago, humanity showed the galaxy our strength. We were feared, then isolated. Today, we answer a call for help from those who once turned their backs on us. We go not for revenge, but because it is right. The Nelvarans are in danger, and we promised long ago to protect them. Earth keeps its promises. In orbit above Earth, the 6 ships powered up their engines. Blue light glowed from massive fusion reactors. Weapons systems came online. Defense shields activated. Lieutenant Adam Clark sat at his communications station on the Harbinger's bridge, watching Captain Wright prepare for departure. "All ships report ready, Captain," he said. Samantha nodded and turned to Admiral Martinez. "Your orders, Admiral?" Martinez looked at the stars on the main view screen. Somewhere out there, the Nelvarans were fighting for survival, sending desperate calls for help into the darkness. And this time, Earth would answer. "Take us out, Captain," she said. "It's time to remind the galaxy who we are." With a flash of light, the 6 ships accelerated away from Earth, beginning their journey to a war beyond the stars. The war titans were returning to the void. The 6 ships from Earth moved through space faster than any human vessels had traveled before. The stars streaked by like lines of light on the viewing screens. Lieutenant Adam Clark watched from his station on the bridge of the Harbinger of dawn. It was beautiful and terrifying at the same time. 2 hours until we reach Azrathi space," he reported to Captain Samantha Wright. Captain Wright nodded. She sat in the command chair, her back straight, her eyes never leaving the main screen. Alert Admiral Martinez. The Azrathi had once been Earth's closest friends among the stars. Their people looked like tall humans with blue skin and silver eyes. They had fought beside Earth during the early years of the colonial wars, but they had been the first to turn away when they saw what humans were capable of during the final battles. Admiral Olivia Martinez entered the bridge. She looked tired. Adam wondered if she had slept at all since they left Earth. "Status report," she said. "All ships functioning at optimal levels," Captain Wright replied. "No sign that the Azrathi have detected us yet," Martinez frowned. "They will. Their border detection systems were always good, and they've had 27 years to improve them." She was right. 1 hour later, as the Earth fleet approached the border of Azrathi space, Lieutenant Zoe Miller called from her sensor station. "Multiple vessels approaching, Admiral. Azrathi patrol ships. They're moving to intercept us." On the main screen, they could see the Azrathi ships. They were smaller than the Earth vessels, but elegant, with curved blue hulls that looked like they were made of water frozen in motion. "They're charging weapons," Zoe reported, her voice steady despite the tension. "Open a channel," ordered Captain Wright. Adam's fingers moved quickly over his control panel. Channel open. Captain Wright stood up. "This is Captain Samantha, Wright of the Earth vessel Harbinger of Dawn. We are on a humanitarian mission and request safe passage through your territory." The screen changed to show an Azrathi officer. His blue face was hard, his silver eyes cold. "Earth vessels are prohibited in Azrathi space under the isolation treaties," he said. "Reverse course immediately or we will open fire." Admiral Martinez stepped forward. "I am Admiral Olivia Martinez of Earth. We have received a distress call from the Nelvarin people. They are under attack by a hostile force called the Drovax Collective. We must pass through your territory to reach them." The Azrathi officer's expression didn't change. "The problems of the Nelvarins are not our concern, and they are certainly not yours, humans. You were told to stay in your own system. That was the agreement after your excesses during the war." Martinez's scarred face tightened. "The Nelvarins will die without our help." "Then they die," the Azrathi said simply. "Turn back now. This is your final warning." The screen went dark. Adam looked at Martinez. She turned to Captain Wright. "Deploy countermeasures only," she ordered. "No offensive actions. We're not here to start a war." Captain Wright nodded and began giving orders. Throughout the ship, crews prepared for possible combat. In the fighter bays, pilots like Lieutenant Miller climbed into their small, fast ships, ready to launch if needed. The Azrathi fired first. Bright energy beams shot from their ships toward the Earth fleet, but they didn't aim directly at the ships. These were warning shots, designed to show that they were serious. "They're trying to scare us off," Martinez said. "Keep our course steady." When it became clear that the Earth ships would not turn back, the Azrathi deployed their most powerful defensive weapon, an interdiction field. It was a massive energy net designed to trap ships and disable their engines. During the colonial wars, such fields had been used to capture rebel ships. "Interdiction field activating," reported Zoe from her station. "It will reach us in 30 seconds. Adam watched the energy net spreading across space in front of them. If they hit it, they would be stuck. The Azrathi would capture them, or worse. "Now, Mr. Vincent," ordered Captain Wright. Lieutenant Ryan Vincent sat at the navigation station. His hands moved over the controls, activating Earth's newest technology. Dimensional fold drive engaging in 3, 2, 1. Adam held his breath. He had never experienced a dimensional fold before. None of them had, except in simulations. For a moment, everything seemed to stretch. Adam felt like his body was being pulled in all directions at once. Then there was a flash of blue light, so bright he had to close his eyes. When he opened them again, the Azrathi ships and their interdiction field were gone. The stars looked different on the view screen. "Fold complete," said Lieutenant Vincent. "We are now 50,000 kilometers beyond the Azrathi interdiction field." All ships successfully transitioned. There was a moment of stunned silence on the bridge. Then someone laughed in relief. The dimensional fold had worked perfectly. They had jumped past the Azrathi blockade in an instant. "The Azrathi are sending urgent communications to all their vessels," Adam reported, listening to the transmissions his systems were picking up. They single quotes confused. "They don't understand how we disappeared." Admiral Martinez allowed herself a small smile. "Good. Let's hope the confusion slows them down. We still have to cross Volacris space before we reach the Nelvarins." The journey continued. News of the incident with the Azrathi spread quickly across the star systems. The Earth fleet picked up transmissions talking about the return of the War Titans and their mysterious new technology. Some messages were frightened, others curious. But all of them were surprised The humans had ventured beyond their solar system after so many years. The Volocrus, bird-like beings with 4 wings, and keen eyes, were waiting for them at their border. Their ships formed a wall in space, weapons ready. They heard what happened with the Azrathi, Captain Wright said. They're prepared for us. But before the Earth fleet could decide what to do, they received a transmission from the Volocrus. "Command ship, Earth vessels," said a high musical voice. "We have monitored your communications. You claim to be answering a distress call from the Nelverans." "That is correct," Admiral Martinez replied. "We request passage through your territory to reach them." There was a long pause. Then the Volocrus commander spoke again. "We too have heard the Nelveran calls for help. We did not answer because we feared the Drovaks were too powerful. But if Earth is willing to face this enemy, perhaps we were too quick to judge you." The Volocrus ships moved aside, opening a path. "You may pass through our space, War Titans," the commander said. "We will not interfere." As they continued their journey, Adam received more Nelveran transmissions. They were clearer now that the fleet was closer. "Admiral," he said, "I'm receiving new data from the Nelverans. It's single quotes not good." He put the information on the main screen. The images showed planets being torn apart by massive Drovaks mining ships. 2 Nelveran colony worlds had already been stripped of resources. The beautiful blue-green Nelveran home planet was next, with Drovak ships surrounding it. "How long until we reach them?" Martinez asked. 12 hours at our current speed," replied Lieutenant Vincent. "Less if we use the fold drive again." Martinez studied the images of the Drovak ships. They were unlike anything humans had seen before. Massive, angular vessels that looked almost like insects made of metal. "Prepare another fold," she ordered. "We've waited 27 years to return to the stars. The Nelverans don't have 12 more hours to wait for us." A blue light of the fold drive glowed throughout the ships once more. The War Titans of Earth were about to meet a new enemy, and the galaxy watched, wondering if humanity's fearsome reputation would prove true once again. The blue light of the dimensional fold faded, and the Earth ships appeared at the edge of the Nelveran home system. What they saw made even the most experienced officers pause. The space around SciFiPrime was filled with broken ships and floating debris. Defense platforms that once protected the planet were now just twisted metal. Nelveran vessels drifted lifelessly among the stars. "My God," whispered Captain Samantha Wright. "We're too late." Lieutenant Zoe Miller worked quickly at her sensor station. "Multiple hostile signatures detected, Captain. I count 47 Drovaks vessels surrounding SciFiPrime. They've established an orbital blockade." Admiral Martinez leaned forward in her chair. "Life signs on the planet?" Zoe adjusted her instruments. "Yes, Admiral. The Nelverans are still alive. They're holding out in shielded underground facilities. But Drovak's ground forces are landing in large numbers." A flicker of hope crossed Martinez's face. "Then we're not too late after all." Battle stations. Throughout the 6 Earthships, alarm signals sounded. Crew members who had been training for this moment moved to their positions. In the fighter bays, pilots like Lieutenant Miller prepared to launch. Major John Carter and his Marines checked their combat frames one final time, knowing they might soon be fighting on the surface of SciFiPrime. The Drovaks had never encountered humans before. They seemed unconcerned by the arrival of just 6 vessels. Most of their ships continued their attack on the planet. But one ship, a massive, insect-like structure, twice the size of the Harbinger, broke away from the others and moved toward the Earth fleet. "They're hailing us," reported Lieutenant Adam Clark from his communications station. "On screen," ordered Captain Wright. The image that appeared showed a being unlike any they had seen before. It had a hard, shiny body that looked like a shell. Or armor. Multiple black eyes surrounded a mouth with moving parts like the mandibles of an insect. When it spoke, the sounds were clicks and hisses that the ship's computer struggled to translate. Unknown vessels. The translation finally came through. You have entered Drovak's harvest space. Identify yourselves or be destroyed. Admiral Martinez stood up, her scarred face illuminated by the blue lights of the bridge. This is Admiral Olivia Martinez of Earth. The Nelvaran people are under our protection. Withdraw your forces immediately. The Drovak's commander made a series of clicking sounds that might have been laughter. Earth, we know of your species. Once feared, now hiding behind your borders. The galaxy has moved on without you, humans. The Nelvarans are our harvest now. Harvest? Martinez's voice was cold. You mean you're stripping their planets of resources, killing them? Such is the way of the Drovaks, the commander replied. The strong consume. The weak are consumed. This is the natural order. Martinez turned to Captain Wright. Show them why they should still fear us. The battle began with a precision strike from the stealth frigate Phantom. While the Drovak's commander had been talking, the Phantom had activated its cloaking technology and slipped behind the Drovak's lines. Now it fired quantum disruptor torpedoes at 3 Drovak's heavy cruisers. The torpedoes hit their targets with perfect accuracy. The shields of the Drovak's ships, which had easily stopped Nelvaran weapons, collapsed instantly under the new Earth. Technology. 2 of the cruisers exploded. The 3rd drifted away, crippled. The Drovak's commander's mandibles clicked rapidly in what must have been surprise or anger. Without another word, the communication ended. The Drovak's command ship turned, its weapons toward the Harbinger, and fired. Energy beams more powerful than anything the Earth fleet had faced before struck the Harbinger's shields. The entire ship shook. On the bridge, officers held onto their stations to keep from falling. Shield status? Called Captain Wright. Shields. Holding at 92%, reported the defense officer. The new adaptive system is working. It's actually getting stronger as it absorbs their energy. Wright nodded with satisfaction. Return fire. Target their weapon systems only. The Harbinger's main guns fired, sending pulses of energy toward the Drovak's command ship. At the same time, the battlecruisers Defiant and Resolute moved to engage. Other Drovak's vessels that were now leaving the planet to join the fight. From the carriers Intrepid and Dauntless, fighters launched, small and fast ships that flew between the larger vessels, targeting weak points in the Drovak ships. Lieutenant Zoe Miller led her squadron of 12 fighters toward a group of Drovaks, ships that were trying to flank the Earth fleet. Stay in formation, she ordered her pilots. Target their engine exhausts. That's where their shields are weakest. The fighters moved like a swarm of deadly insects themselves, dodging enemy. Fire and striking with precise laser bursts. 3 Drovak ships fell back, their engines damaged or destroyed. On the Harbinger's bridge, Adam received a new transmission. Admiral, we're being hailed by the Nelvaran resistance on the planet. Put them through, Martinez said. A tired-looking Nelvaran appeared on screen. Nelvarans resembled tall, slender humans with pale green skin and large golden eyes. This one's face showed signs of exhaustion and injury. This is Defense Coordinator Liner of SciFiPrime, he said. We didn't think anyone would come. Especially. Earth. Martinez stepped forward. We received your distress call. We came as quickly as we could. Tears formed in the Nelvaran's golden eyes. After all this time, after how we treated you... The war titans have not forgotten us after all. We made a promise once, Martinez said simply. Now, what's your situation on the ground? Liner's expression became grim again. The Drovaks have landed troops in our major cities. They're trying. to access our deep bunkers where most of our people are hiding. Our defense forces are fighting, but we're outnumbered. We can't hold out much longer. Martinez nodded. We're sending help. Hold on a little longer. She turned to Captain Wright. Prepare the dropships. Major Carter and the 87th Marines are going in. In the Harbinger's launch bay, Major John Carter addressed his Marines as they climbed into their combat frames. The metal suits enclosed their bodies, making them stronger, faster, and better protected. This will not be an easy fight, he told them. The Drovaks outnumber us, but they've never faced humans before. They've never faced war titans. We are going down there to save the Nelvaran people, to show the galaxy that Earth keeps its promises. Are you ready? The Marines shouted their response. They were ready. They had trained for this moment. The dropships launched from the Harbinger, protected by fighter escorts as they descended toward the surface of SciFiPrime. From his seat in the lead dropship, Major Carter could see the beautiful blue-green planet below, with its white clouds and vast oceans. He could also see the Drovak ships in orbit, and the flashes of weapon fire as the battle raged in space. As they entered the atmosphere, Carter activated his comlink. This is Major John Carter to Nelvaran Defense Forces. The war titans have arrived. Tell us where you need us most. The response came from a surprised Nelvaran officer. Major Carter? Humans? We ... We are under heavy attack in the capital city. The Drovaks are trying to breach the central bunker where our government and thousands of civilians are sheltering. Understood, Carter replied. We're on our way. Hold your position. The dropships changed course, heading toward the Nelvaran capital. Below them, they could see the once beautiful city now burning, with Drovak's ground forces moving through the streets like a tide of metallic insects. Remember your training, Carter told his Marines. Hit hard and fast. Don't stop moving. There. Drovaks may have numbers, but we have the most advanced combat technology in the galaxy. The dropships began their final descent. The battle for SciFiPrime was about to begin on the ground as well as in space. The war titans had returned to the stars, and they had come to fight. For 3 days, the battle for SciFiPrime raged both in space and on the ground. The Drovaks fought with a cold, machine-like efficiency. They had numbers on their side. But the humans fought with something the Drovaks did not understand: determination. To protect others. In space, the 6 Earthships moved like dancers in a deadly ballet. They appeared and disappeared using their dimensional fold drives, striking the Drovaks' vessels from unexpected angles. Quantum disruptor torpedoes tore through enemy shields. Fighter squadrons led by Lieutenant Zoe Miller flew between the larger ships, targeting engines and weapon systems. They're bringing in reinforcements, warned Zoe, as her sensors detected a new wave of Drovak's vessels entering the system. At least 30 more ships. Admiral Martinez studied the tactical display on the Harbinger's bridge. Their ships had taken damage. The Resolute had lost its main weapon systems. The Dauntless had a breach in its lower decks, now sealed off. But they were still fighting. We knew this wouldn't be easy, she said. Continue the attack pattern. Focus fire on their command ship. On the surface of SciFiPrime, Major John Carter and his Marines fought alongside Nelvaran resistance. Fighters. The human combat frames gave them a huge advantage. They could move faster than the Drovak's ground troops, jump higher, and their armor could withstand heavy weapons fire. Carter led a squad through the ruins of what had once been the Nelvaran capital's beautiful central plaza. Now it was a battlefield. His squad moved from building to building, eliminating Drovak soldiers that were trying to break into an underground bunker. Hold this position, he ordered as they reached the bunker entrance. Nothing gets past us. An older Nelvaran fighter approached him. The alien's green skin was marked with wounds, but his golden eyes were bright with hope. "I remember when humans protected us before," the Nelvarin said, "during the trade wars, before the colonial conflict. You saved us then too." Carter nodded. "And we'll save you again." A massive explosion shook the ground. Carter looked up to see a Drovax dropship falling from the sky, hit by Earth fighters. It crashed into a cluster of Drovax ground troops, eliminating dozens in one fiery blast. Back in space, something unexpected appeared on the Harbinger sensors. "New ships entering the system," reported Lieutenant Adam Clark. "But they're not Drovax." On the main screen, they watched as a fleet of Azrathi vessels appeared at the edge of the system. The elegant blue ships moved in perfect formation. Behind them came ships from the Volocris, their bird-like designs gleaming in the light of Nelvar's sun. "Are they here to help the Drovax finish us off?" wondered Captain Samantha Wright. They soon got their answer as the Azrathi flagship opened communications. A familiar blue-skinned officer appeared on screen, but his silver eyes held something new: respect. "This is High Commander Krell of the Azrathi Defense Force," he said. "We detected your passage through our territory, War Titans of Earth. We ... observed your restraint. You could have fought us, but you chose not to. The Drovax threat concerns all spacefaring species. Perhaps we were hasty in our judgment of humanity." Martinez stepped forward. "We welcome your assistance, Commander. Krell, the Nelvarins need all the help they can get." The Azrathi nodded. "Our ships are at your disposal, Admiral Martinez. The Volocris have also joined us. We will follow your lead." With the arrival of these unexpected allies, the tide of battle turned. The Drovax, who had been so confident in their superior numbers, found themselves caught between three different fleets: Earth's advanced weapons, the Azrathi's precision tactics, and the Volocris' speed proved a devastating combination. The Drovax commander, realizing defeat was now inevitable, made one final desperate move. From his command ship, he activated a weapon that had been held in reserve, a planet-killer missile aimed at Nelvara Prime. "They've launched something," reported Zoe from her sensor station. "It's heading for the planet. Energy readings are off the charts." Martinez's face paled. "Can we intercept it?" "Negative," said Captain Wright. "It's moving too fast and has its own defensive shields." Lieutenant Ryan Vincent, who controlled the full drive, spoke up. "Admiral, I have an idea. It's risky, but it might work." Martinez looked at him. "Explain." "We can create a dimensional fold around the missile itself," Vincent said. "Teleport it somewhere else." "Like where?" asked Martinez. Vincent's eyes were steady, inside the Drovax command ship. There was a moment of silence on the bridge. Everyone understood what this meant. It was brilliant and terrible at the same time. "Do it," Martinez ordered. Vincent's hands moved over his controls, making calculations faster than seemed humanly possible. Engineers from the Defiant, who had more experience with the fold drive's inner workings, helped remotely. "Target locked," Vincent said, creating fold in 3, 2, 1. A small blue light appeared in space, engulfing the planet killer. "Missile." For a second, nothing happened. Then the missile vanished. At the same moment, there was a blinding flash of light where the Drovax command ship had been. When the light faded, nothing remained but scattered debris. The remaining Drovax ships, seeing their commander destroyed and faced with 3 allied fleets, began to retreat. Some tried to escape. Others surrendered. On the planet below, the Drovax ground forces suddenly lost coordination. Without commands from their leaders, they fell into disarray. Major Carter and his Marines, along with the Nelvarin fighters, pushed forward, driving the confused enemy back. 3 days after Earth's fleet had arrived in the Nelvarin system, the battle was over. The Drovak's threat, at least in this part of space, had been eliminated. In the aftermath, Admiral Martinez stood before the Nelvaran Council alongside representatives from the Azrathi and Valakris. The Grand Chamber, partially damaged during the fighting, still retained its beauty with high ceilings and walls covered in living plants. We responded to your call because despite everything, we still believe in the promise we made to protect you, Martinez told the grateful Nelvarans. Earth doesn't seek to rebuild its empire, but neither will we ignore our responsibilities to this galaxy. The head of the Nelvaran Council, an elderly female with wise golden eyes, bowed deeply. We turned our backs on you after the colonial wars. We called you war titans out of fear. Now we speak that name with gratitude. You came when no one else would. You risked your lives for people who had rejected you. There is no way we can repay such a debt. High Commander Krell of the Azrathi stepped forward. Perhaps the first payment of that debt is to reconsider the isolation treaties. Earth has proven they are still worthy of a place among the stars. As Task Force Aegis prepared for the journey home, communications channels throughout known space buzzed with news of humanity's return. Some spoke with fear, others with hope, but all acknowledged what the Nelvarans had discovered when they sent their desperate SOS into the void. When darkness threatens, Earth's war titans stand ready to answer the call. On the Harbinger's bridge, Lieutenant Adam Clark looked out at the stars. They seemed different now, more alive with possibility. Do you think things will change now? He asked Admiral Martinez. Will we be welcome in space again? Martinez considered the question. I don't know, but we've taken the first step. We showed the galaxy that humans can be feared for our power, but respected for how we use it. The signal that had reached Earth-1 desperate plea across the stars had changed the course of galactic history. Humanity had returned to the interstellar stage not as conquerors, but as protectors. And this time, perhaps, they would not have to stand alone.